What's up, YouTube? Are you wondering what the most common errors loan signing agents are making so that you can avoid them, thus establishing your reputation for expertise in the industry? In this video, I will be walking you through the key documents that signing services, escrow officers, and lenders get back with tons and tons of errors so that you can avoid those errors and establish yourself as a trusted loan signing agent in the field. Some of these errors are super tiny, but they have big repercussions. I'm just here to make sure that you have a trained eye while looking through these documents so that on these specific ones, you will never make those really detrimental mistakes during a signing. So the first document I want to bring to your attention when we're thinking about super easy mistakes that can be made, but if you have a trained eye, you will not make these mistakes, is the 4506T. This is that form right here. It is the request for transcript of tax returns. You will sometimes have a husband or wife up here and then a spouse on the line right below 2A. On this example, we only have one signer. The tiny but costly error that signing agents make on this form is right here. This highlighted X that I put on this form for you shows the most common error that signing agents make. They don't have their borrower check or X this box. And the reason why that is so important to make sure your borrowers check or X the box is because this is an attestation clause. And so this clause states, signatory attests that he or she has read the attestation clause and upon so reading declares that he/she has the authority to sign the form 4506T. That's actually not the attestation itself, but that is the small blurb that the borrower is attesting that they have read this clause above it. I'll read that to you now. It says, I declare that I am either the taxpayer whose name is shown on line 1A or 2A, or a person authorized to obtain the tax information requested. If the request applies to a joint return, at least one spouse must sign. If signed by a corporate officer, 1% or more shareholder, partner, managing member, guardian, tax matters partner, executor, receiver, administrator, trustee, or party other than the taxpayer, I certify that I have the authority to execute Form 4506T on behalf of the taxpayer. Again, a lot of people will get that signature as we are trained to do. They will get the date. If there's a title required, they'll get that, but they will skip so quickly past this tiny box and forget to have their borrowers check the box. If escrow or the lender receives this form back without a checked box, they cannot verify that their borrower has read and agrees that this is a true statement on this clause. And so they're gonna kick it back because yes, they could check it themselves, but that's falsifying documents and no one is doing that. No one wants that on their hands. That's a really big deal. Just get the box checked. It's the easiest thing to do. And once you're familiar with the 4506T and the 4506C, you won't ever miss this. You won't ever make this error. When I'm presenting this document to my borrower, I'm sliding it over. I'm saying signature on the bottom. Please make sure that you check or X the tiny box next to it. And then date. Super simple, super huge deal if you do not have them check the box. The second document that a lot of signing agents make an error on is the 1003, which is the residential uniform loan application. This is the application that your borrower will have completed over the phone or online with their lender. This is the printed version of all the information that they provided to their lender. Highlighted here, this is section 1A, personal information. If we come down here to type of credit, there will be individual credit. I am applying for individual credit or I am applying for joint credit. If your borrower is applying for joint credit, the total number of borrowers will say 2 right here. If there are 2 borrowers, you will have one borrower in section 1A. This will be one borrower's information. On the Legacy 1003, there were each borrower side by side. I'm gonna show you that form in just a sec, but for the meantime, if you do have two borrowers applying for joint credit, they will be in their own sections. So you'll have like 7 or 9 pages of one borrower's information, their personal information, their employment or self-employment information and income, income from other sources, financial information, assets, liabilities, if they own any real estate, that property information, loans that they may have out on additional property, rental income on that property, gifts or grants that they've been given, etc. Declaration. For example purposes, I have written in a name, John Doe. This is all of John Doe's information. If he is applying for joint credit with his wife, Jane Doe, there will be a number 2 right here, and he will need to initial right here on this initial line. This will not be highlighted when you are going through a loan package. It is your responsibility to know that on the new 1003, they are looking for initials on each section 1A for each borrower of the loan. Please don't misconstrue any of this for legal advice. Page 2 of the 1003 does not require any initials or signatures. Page 3 also does not require any initials or signatures. Page 4 does not require any initials or signatures. Page 5, page 6. When you get to section 6, that is when we're going to be looking for your borrower's signature. If you have one borrower, you will just be concerned with the top signature line and date. They are very strict about the format for the date. So what I usually tell my borrowers when I present this form is, give me your signature for just this document only. Please follow this requested format. 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, 4 digits for the year. Once we leave this document, we are going to go back to your original format for dating. All right, so that could be another thing that gets this form kicked back, is letting your borrower date however they want to date. This is the signature line. Only be concerned about that initial section if you have 2 borrowers who are co-borrowers on a loan. As long as you are paying close attention to the brand new 1003 and whether or not you have 2 borrowers here. If I have 2 borrowers on a new 1003, I need initials on that section 1A of each borrower. But for the most part, the Legacy 1003 is not being circulated, but as recently as 2 weeks ago, I have seen a Legacy 1003 in my package. This is the borrower co-borrower phenomena. Do you get the signatures at the top of the Legacy 1003 when you only have one borrower? Yes or no? Every lender has said yes that I've worked with, so it became muscle memory for a lot of signing agents to, even if you had one borrower, have them sign that top line. And that's because lenders were being finicky and they were sending it back and saying, we need that signature, and you looked like you didn't know what you were doing if you did not get that signature on the first page. Getting the signature was always safer than not getting the signature, because if they don't want the signature, they can reprint this page. They cannot reprint the page with the signature, however. So it's better for them to have the physical signature than not in most cases, and that's what a lot of signing agents began to do, because it became such a headache and signing agents were being sent back out to correct documents that shouldn't maybe have needed to be corrected. The clause says, if this is an application for joint credit, borrower and co-borrower each agree that we intend to apply for joint credit. Sign below. So it makes a lot of sense that if you had a single borrower, you would not get a single signature, not one, on this form. But again, a lot of these were being kicked back, and it became such a headache that signing agents just decided 1 or 2 borrowers, either way, the top of the 1003, the Legacy 1003, we're getting a signature. It's not worth the headache. Something else to be noted on this form is some 1003s will have initial lines on the right bottom margin. Be looking out for that section specifically. In every loan set package that you do, you should be looking in the bottom right, bottom left, any of the bottom margins, you really should scan the entire page, but get used to looking for initial lines on random pages that you don't think they will be on, because 9 times out of 10 they won't be there. That one time they will be there, and you will be so used to not checking for initial lines, you will miss those initials and you will be going back out to correct your errors. That's page 1 of the Legacy 1003. Page 2 does not require any signatures or any initials, but if it did require initials, they would be right here. Page 3 does not require any signatures or any initials. All right, page 4 of the Legacy 1003 requires a signature and date halfway down the page. So again, you will not have highlighter to indicate where a signature goes. It will be your responsibility to pay close attention and train yourself to know these documents. And halfway down page, what is this? Page something. Halfway down page 4 of the Legacy 1003, just always know and be prepared that there should be a signature line there for 1 or 2 borrowers and a date. Right behind that page, you'll have largely a blank page that requires signatures all the way at the bottom. So you need to, again, be scanning visually for those signature and date lines on these really key forms. Those are just 3 of the key documents that require close attention to detail. The other 2 I wanted to go over with you guys are the deed of trust and adjustable rate mortgages. On the deed of trust, depending on your lender, you may have initial lines on every single page of the DOT. You have to train yourself to just visually scan those bottom margins for any initial lines. Every mistake that I am attempting to help you avoid with this video, I made myself. So I was driving across bridges, scrambling to correct these errors, contacting borrowers to reschedule a correction appointment. You know, sometimes I was back out there the same day because we're dealing with date sensitive documents and I needed to get those initials, or I needed to get, you know, a signature on that date. I would like to avoid you burning your gas money unnecessarily and just knowing, you know, getting into a flow of being used to what documents have what key elements and what you need to be looking out for. On the deed of trust, sometimes for some lenders, you will have initials on every last page. And we know deed of trusts are usually somewhere between 13 and 17 pages. So that's 13 and 17 pages worth of initials that you need to get. If you do prep docs before your signings, do not get into the habit of page 1 of the DOT, okay, I'm paper clipping all 17 pages together without looking for those initial lines. You could very well be sorry, and you could very well be driving 20 miles back in the same direction to correct that error. So just keep a lookout for those sneaky initial lines on your deed of trust. The final document that I wanted to bring to your attention that signing agents make errors on are adjustable rate mortgage notes. Luckily for me, I didn't make this as an error. It was just brought to my attention before my signing by the escrow officer, but it's stuck in my mind and I just want to bring it to your attention so that you can kind of, again, develop that muscle memory for what documents have what element that you should be paying attention for. So on the adjustable rate mortgage note, you will see initial lines. I believe it's on page 2, but it's somewhere behind page 1 of the adjustable rate mortgage. And usually you would just have your borrower sign the last page of the note, right? On adjustable rate mortgages, you will have an initial line in addition to their signature line. So you need to be looking out for those initial lines, and anytime you have an adjustable rate note with initial lines, it's likely you're gonna have either a deed of trust that has initial lines or maybe a rider that has initial lines sitting down in there just sneaky waiting for you you to miss it. So don't miss it. Go through slowly but surely and check for initial lines, even if they're not in those bottom margins, even if they're somewhere up above. If you see a blank line, that's part of our training, right? Like, no blank lines that are unsigned or unfilled as a notary public. So be looking out for those, and I hope you guys are having so much fun. As signing agents, I'm having the time of my life. This opportunity has just been so freeing for me and my family. Last week, I just was overcome with gratitude. I cooked my daughter's breakfast and lunch hot at home, and then left the house to make $450 that day. You can find that video here, and let me know how I can serve you. Let me know what questions you have specifically, any techniques you would like to learn or develop. I'm working on pooling some resources together for you guys that you can maybe download or sign up for an email list to get, something like that, a newsletter maybe. Slowly but surely, I'm working on these things, but you know, I'm a mom first, businesswoman second, so whew. But I'm super excited that you're here with me. Thank you for watching this video. If you found value in this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really, really helps with the YouTube algorithm. I'm brand new here. I just got 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing. You have no idea how much it means to me. I'm like, I can't even. I really can't even. I've like broken up with Instagram, and like YouTube is bae at this point. I hope to develop more really service-based content for you guys soon, but again, let me know how I can serve you. All right, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good one. Bye.